I think these are the last three on this page. Last three are working with what they call, oh, they're not the last three. Holy cow, we got 6 more to do. Next one here, we're doing a compound inequality. When you do a compound inequality, it's like two separate things, but we only really have the x in the middle. So what we're going to do is we think about how we get the x by itself. Now here, if I want to get the x by itself, I've got to move the 4 over, right? So I'm going to minus the 4. But I'm not going to only just minus the 4 from one side. I'm actually going to minus the 4 from both ends, since I have things on both sides of my equation. Okay? So, negative 16 is less than or equal to 4x, which is less than 12 then. Then the same thing, if I want to get with the x by itself, what do I do with the 4 in front of the x? I end up having to divide. I'm not only going to divide it from one end, but I have to divide it from the other end also. So negative 4 is less than or equal to x, which is less than 3. They're then going to have you put that on the number line. So, on the negative 4 end, what kind of dot are we going to have?
You're going to have a closed dot.
Closed dot, the filled in circle. And on the 3?
On the 3, you're going to have an open circle.
The open circle, and we're just going to shade between those two dots because the x is in the middle.
Oh, but that kind of okay.
Okay? Now sometimes they'll just write it as two separate equations. And if they write it as two separate equations, like on number 23, we're just going to solve two separate equations.
Well, they say like so or. Okay.
So or means when you end up graphing that it's going to end up going in the opposite directions. This way or this way.
Okay.
So we're just going to take the 4x plus 1 is less than or equal to negative 15 and solve that. And then we'll do the 3x minus 5 is greater than 1 and solve that. If it's two separate ones, you just do two separate ones. So on the first one to solve that, we would.
I'm going to
How do you get the x by itself? You got to move the 1, right?
Yep.
So we're going to
Negative 1.
-1. 4x would be less than or equal to negative 16 then. And then we would.
And then we're going to divide.
Divide by the 4. So x is less than or equal to negative 4. Notice I didn't flip my sign because that was a positive 4, right?
Okay, yeah.
On the other one, if I'm going to solve that for x, what would I do?
We're going to move the 1 to negative.
We're going to move what one? If I want to solve it for the x, what number do I have to move?
The 5.
The 5. So we're going to do what with our 5?
Make it a negative 5.
Make it a what?
Oh, positive 5.
Positive 5. So 3x is going to be greater than 6. And then we're going to divide by 3. And so x is going to be greater than 2. Again, we don't flip our sign because the 3 was positive. So on the negative 4, what kind of dot are we going to have?
You are going to have a
Closed dot, yep. And on the 2, what kind of dot are we going to have?
open.
The open. Now on this one, we are going less than the negative 4, so we're on the left side. Greater than the 2, so we're on the right side. Remember I said because it had an or, they should be the two, excuse me, two opposite sides instead of in the middle. Now this one's like that first one we did. The x is between those, so when we solve it, we're going to do stuff on both ends. So if I want to get the x by itself, 7 is less than 2x plus 5, which is less than or equal to 17. What's the first thing we should do?
We're going to minus the 5.
Minus the 5. And we're going to minus that 5 from both ends. And so we're going to get 2 is less than 2x, which is less than or equal to 12. 17 minus 5. Then we're going to
Divide. Oh no, we did
yep,
it.
you're right.
Oh,
We're going to divide by that 2, right?
yeah.
So 2 divided by 2 is 1 is less than x, which is less than or equal to 12 divided by 2, 6.
6.
So on the 1, what kind of end mark are we going to have?
We are going to have a
Open one. On the 6, I'm going to have
Closed.
the closed, and the x is between those two things. So I'm shading between those two dots.